Am I the asshole for walking out of a wedding I was part of and ruining the day? I dated my ex-boyfriend John for 4 years and got serious enough where we started planning for our future, wedding, kids, etc. I thought we were pretty happy, but last year, he dumped me pretty suddenly. I tried to figure out what went wrong, but he said it was personal and that I should respect his space. During this time, my best friend Stacy and her fiancé Tom were my rocks, letting me crash at their place and just being overwhelmingly supportive and loving. When Stacy asked me to be her maid of honor, I thought it was a no-brainer and happily took on the task. Fast forward to what happened this weekend. The morning of the wedding, Tom asked me to meet him for breakfast super early in the morning before all the festivities. I thought it was weird, but assumed maybe he wanted me to pass something on to Stacy. What happened instead was that Tom let me know a few days prior, Stacy admitted to him that she had an affair with John, which was what led to my breakup. He said that Stacy wanted to come clean to start their marriage fresh, and that he was forgiving her to move forward. He'd gone back and forth between telling me and finally decided to spill the beans. I guess he had expected me to forgive Stacy too because the affair was so long ago. The opposite pretty much happened, and I just walked out on the wedding. It ended up causing a huge mess because I was basically running the whole show. Stacy made me do everything, so she didn't even know what was happening at certain times or who to call. Not only that, but everyone realized that the maid of honor wasn't there. She had headshots and bios of her party on the wedding page, and the news of the affair eventually got out because her cousin knew John. Stacy and Tom have been slandering me online now, saying that I ruined their once-in-a-lifetime moment. Some of their friends are on their side, saying that I should have handled the situation more privately and at least stuck out the wedding since it was so last minute. I personally don't know what Tom expected, but either way I've been getting bombarded with texts, and I heard Stacy's been so upset she's had to take time off of work, which does make me feel like an asshole, especially since I've just been ignoring her calls. So what do you think? Is OP the asshole? In the meantime, let's get to our next story. Am I the asshole for turning off my girlfriend's alarm clock after she hit snooze too many times, causing her to oversleep and be late for work? My girlfriend and I live together. She wakes up at 6 a.m. to get to work at 7 a.m. Every morning, her alarm starts going off at 5 a.m. and she hits snooze over and over before she finally crawls out of bed at 6 a.m. to be in the bathroom getting ready for 45 minutes before she leaves. I work from home and don't need to wake up until about 8:30 a.m. I enjoy sleeping in until then. It maddens me that her alarm goes off constantly from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. and destroys my sleep and my morning. I've brought this up with her and she defends the habit and refuses to quit because 1, she says it's the only way she can get up in the morning, and 2, she has to drive to work for a job that starts much earlier than mine, and I work from home, so I should be accommodating to her and empathetic that she has to wake up so early and drive. After months of this, I told her that the next time her snooze went off, I'd turn off her alarm on her phone. This morning, I did that at 5 a.m. and reached over and just turned off the alarm on her phone after she hit snooze the first time. She slept through to about 6:40 a.m., woke up, freaked out, and ended up about 10 minutes late to work. She is furious at me, but I insist I'm right and will do the same thing tomorrow. She needs to just set her alarm for 6 a.m. when she actually gets up and forget that the snooze feature even exists. I personally don't think OP's the asshole, but what do you think? By the way, if you're enjoying the video, do me a favor, subscribe and hit like. In the meantime, let's get to our next story. Am I the asshole for wanting my girlfriend to pay rent and utilities to live in my house? We're both women, so no sexist comments. We currently live separately and are talking about moving in together, except we've hit a snag. She rents and pays roughly $3,000 in rent, utilities, and insurance. I outright own a house that my brothers gave to me as a graduation gift. My utilities, insurance, and property taxes roughly $2,500 a month. She makes about $50,000 a year, while I make about $300,000. All of this cumulated into the argument we're currently in. I asked her to pay $1,250 a month when she moves in to cover the cost of living here. I thought that it was a reasonable request since there will be 2 people living here and that's half of my cost. She disagrees and thinks it's unreasonable since I'll incur those costs whether or not she lives with me. I asked her what she thought was fair, and her first answer was that she shouldn't have to contribute anything since the house was in my name and she doesn't have ownership. That led to an argument until she relented and offered to pay based on our income. Since I make 6 times her salary, she said the only fair thing is for her to pay 1/6 of the cost, so roughly $400 a month. I thought this was unrealistic, but she argued that it's fair since I don't even need her money because I don't have a mortgage and make so much more. I love her and never thought money would be an issue, but here we are. What do you all think? It's funny that when she was living by herself, she was willing to pay double, but living with a partner and saving literally half her money is now a problem. Let's get to our last story of the day. Am I the asshole for not allowing my neighbors to make a copy of my apartment key? So I just recently moved into my new apartment complex less than 60 days ago. There are only 4 units in my complex, 2 downstairs and 2 upstairs. I reside downstairs in the second apartment. Everyone who's lived here has been here for at least 5 years, while the oldest resident has been here for about 8. Everyone knows everyone and have been good friends with each other for as long as each other has been around. Everyone in my building has children besides me. The majority are single mothers. I am the only man. Apparently there's an unspoken agreement I at first had no knowledge of between the rest of the tenants that the hallway door is never to be locked. No one ever locked the door. That is, until I arrived. From my knowledge, no one in the building has a hallway key, just keys to their apartment. The cost to replace a key is $70 for each key, quoted from my landlord. I just finished up my place and have officially moved in for about 3 weeks. Each time I leave and come back from my complex, I always lock the hallway door. It's always been a hit to lock all the doors behind me. My neighbor that works night shifts has arrived home for the past couple of weeks to a locked hallway door, which is a surprise given that the door hasn't been locked for years. Apparently, everyone lost their key the first year or so living in the complex. I will continuously hear knocking and banging until someone comes to open the door. The first few nights, I was awoken and got up to unlock the door. After the first week, I've since stopped, and my neighbor will be up to unlock the door to let our neighbors in. If my neighbor isn't home or doesn't wake up to come to the door, she will knock and bang on every window and yell until someone comes to open the door. Yesterday, my neighbor asked if I could please leave the door unlocked, given that it has always been that way and would like me to continue doing so. I expressed that while we live in a dangerous neighborhood, rated one of the top 5 most dangerous in our city, I feel it's more safe knowing that strangers can't enter the building. While she understood my concerns, she assured me that no one ever comes here but residents and invited visitors, and my safety is not to worry. I had to beg to differ. She then asks if I would mind lending her my hall key so she can make a copy and let others make their own copies from hers. I politely declined because I wasn't comfortable with that. She offered to pay me to make a copy myself, in which case I also declined. For the past week, my neighbors have barely spoken to me. We usually tell each other good morning and chat a little bit or just say hi and bye. But not even that nowadays. My neighbor, who volunteers at the food bank in our community, would come back with goodies and share with everyone in the complex. She has since knocked on my door to deliver me a box, as she usually would every Wednesday. I don't care for the food, but for the change in this routine led me to believe that I may have upset the rest of the tenants, and honestly, I don't want any bad blood. So for me, this was easily OP is the asshole. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm looking forward to making another one for you. I'd like to thank all the posters of the stories, and I've left the links to all these stories down below in the description. In the meantime, sweet dreams.